Chapter 24. We hear from Adagio once or twice a week. When he left after the funeral, he seemed more somber, and we were worried about him. We still worry. He constantly assures us that he is okay and tells us not to worry, which is easier said than done. I visit Tara Flynn once a week, and I have gotten to know her better. During our visits, we talk about Brian. Tara shares stories with me of her son's childhood and things they did together. Her grief is still deep, and I am glad to be a listening ear. She even shares her pregnancy experiences with me, which I enjoy a great deal. I ask questions about labor and delivery, and Tara freely answers them. Though I know every woman's pregnancy is different, it is still helpful to know a little more about what to expect. I appreciate her very much, and we have become great friends. Adagio comes back to spend Christmas with us. He is doing well, but couldn't stand the thought of spending Christmas alone. On Christmas Eve, we celebrate with eggnog and the cookies and cakes I baked all day. Adagio had even made cannoli and chocolate biscotti, both of which are the most heavenly treats I have ever eaten. Sitting near the tree, we listen to Ingo read the nativity story from the Bible. Then we sing Christmas carols with me accompanying on the piano. On Christmas Day, Gary and Tara Flynn join us for dinner. It is a tender day for all of us as we remember Brian and other loved ones near and far away. I have never enjoyed the holidays more. It is the first time I have truly felt the spirit of the season. Surrounded by family and good friends, I cannot ask for a better Christmas. Chapter 25. It snows frequently in January and February, but I absolutely love Utah in the wintertime. Even though the temperatures are sometimes freezing, it still feels warmer than the coldest winter in humid North Carolina. I am feeling pretty good, and am no longer experiencing debilitating morning sickness, or, as I like to call it, anytime sickness. The fatigue has eased up as well, and with each week that passes, I am more content, and I eagerly anticipate the birth of our child. February is almost over, and being almost halfway through my pregnancy, I am now wearing maternity clothes. Ingo often tells me I'm beautiful and never fails to show me how he feels. I notice that Ingo has become more protective, so much so that he puts off doing things he normally enjoys, preferring to stay home with me. And while I appreciate his concern and enjoy having him home, I feel guilty that he never takes the time for himself. Whenever I suggest that he gets out for a bit, he makes an excuse to stay. Though I am grateful for his determination to be here, he needs something to take his mind off me. He needs to do something fun. March has breezed in, and Ingo has yet to indulge in one of his favorite sports, skiing. Concerned about his vitamin D exposure, as well as his low total on the winter funometer, I call a couple of his friends, who in turn call Ingo and invite him to go skiing. And, as expected, he doesn't want to leave me alone. "Maybe this isn't such a good idea, love," he says, pulling on a flannel shirt. Watching me where I am resting on the bed, he buttons his shirt and tucks it into his jeans. I need to be here just in case something should happen. Shaking my head, I get up. "Nothing is going to happen, Ingo. Stop worrying so much." I can't help it. When I arch a brow, he holds his hands up, already guessing what I'm about to say, because he has heard me say it many times. I know. Women have babies all the time, but if something happened while I was gone, I could never forgive myself. "I'll be fine, honest. It's just for the afternoon, and you really need this time Besides, I can always call you on your cell if there is an emergency, which I'm sure there won't be, and if I can't get you, I can call Wendy at the boutique or Tara. He heaves a resigned sigh. Are you sure? Because I can always. I silence him with a kiss. He growls. I don't know if I want to go now. I'll be here when you get back. Then I'll have to hurry back. You do that. He is set to leave after lunch. I'm in the kitchen packing a bag of snacks for him to take with him when he pulls me into his arms. You know, you could go with me. We could purposely get lost in the woods somewhere and try to find ways to keep each other warm until help arrives. We could, but I don't know if I would want to be found. Me either, but then again, that is the plan. I laugh, handing him the bag. Hold that thought until you get back. Don't worry, love, I will. I kiss him and walk him to the door. Have a good time. Thanks, I'll try. And don't worry about me, okay? You're asking me impossible, but I'll do my best. Kissing him again, I close the door behind him and move to the family room window, watching him get in his car. He really needs this time. As Ingo backs out of the driveway, he looks up at Cicely, waving through the side window. At the same moment, an acute ache fills his chest. The pain startles him so he immediately puts the car in park. Pressing a hand to his chest, he closes his eyes and takes a deep breath, briefly wondering if he is experiencing a heart attack. But when the pain quickly subsides, he figures it must have been some sort of panic attack, probably stemming from worrying over Cicely. Look at me, he mutters. A grown man and I can't spend one afternoon away from my wife. Get a grip, Kelly. Opening his eyes and looking up at Cicely again, he pulls back into the driveway, then gets out and trots back into the house. Pulling her to him, he holds her close. Are you sure you're going to be all right? I'll be fine, I promise. Just go and have a good time. Okay. He kisses her, holding her another moment. I love you, Cicely. I know, she says, cupping his cheek. I love you too. He finally forces himself out the door. Are we ready, gentlemen? Ingo asks, getting off the ski lift. He takes in the vast surroundings. The blanket of white is almost blinding but beautiful. Thankfully, his goggles are tinted. I'm definitely ready, Ben says. What do you say, Tim? I say the need for speed is about to be satisfied. Ingo grins at the excited men. They are like eager little boys let loose in a candy store. He really is glad to have come, despite worrying about Cicely. But she is right. She will be okay until he gets back. Shaking his head, he muses that even though he has tried not to, he really has become a worrier. He can't understand why. Maybe it is because he'd never loved anyone until Cicely. She is constantly on his mind, and just the thought of her warms his entire being. Cicely had been through so much in her life, and everything inside Ingo yearns to keep her heart safe, to never let her be hurt again. Even still, thinking about how far she has come, Ingo knows that even if he never had another day with her, his love helped to produce a great work. She knows who she is now, and she knows her worth. He had smiled as he'd watched couples coming and going earlier while he sat putting on his skis, and remembered how he'd joke with Cicely about coming with him. Now, as he stands in the frigid weather, those thoughts heat him to the core, and he doesn't feel the cold. Looking down at the lodge, a dot in the distance, he contemplates bringing Cicely up for a few days in the fall, and he makes a mental note to make reservations before leaving. Ingo, Ben, and Tim get into position, calling from one to the other, "See you at the bottom." Then they are off. Ingo experiences experiences heightened exhilaration with each slice of his skis in the snow. It is a rush he hasn't experienced in a long time, and he is enjoying every second of it. He has always loved skiing and the feeling of freedom it brings. He'd learned to ski as a teenager during their family vacations in Utah and quickly took to it. He smiles as those memories come to mind. His form is perfect, and he is feeling pretty confident, his concentration level high. Then, out of nowhere, the pain he had felt earlier returns. When it does, his concentration flees. Sitting on the living room sofa, I studied the movements of the little boy inside me. We'd found out the sex of the baby as soon as we could, and though we would have been just as happy with a girl, we are excited to be having a son first. Ingo says every little girl needs a big brother, so he is sure we will be having a girl the next time. Up until now, I have only felt slight flutters here and there, but today I can actually feel him moving around, and it is unlike anything I have ever imagined. To feel this new life growing inside me gives me the ultimate feeling of peace and makes me marvel anew at how truly miraculous and sacred procreation is. I spend some time reading a maternity magazine and a few pamphlets on childbirth. Some things I have already learned from Tara, but as I read about the phases of labor and delivery, as well as the options available, I decide to take a natural childbirth class and prepare as much as I can. I will discuss it with Ingo when he gets back. Pulling a folded piece of paper from the desk, I again look over my list of things I will need for the baby's nursery. We still need to buy a crib and get the bedding. There are already lots of clothes, blankets, and diapers, thanks to Ingo's window shopping sprees and Jessica's surprise purchases. My thoughts roam to Jessica. She is in Australia for the month, visiting her family. Though she has only been gone for a week, I miss her a great deal. She calls each day to check on me and make sure I'm okay. Between Jessica and Ingo and even Tara checking on me from time to time, I am covered. The growl of my stomach reminds me that it is time to eat something. Even though I'm a fairly decent cook, I still miss Jessica's delicious meals. She usually cooks so much, there are leftovers for days. I wonder if her family is taking advantage of her culinary skills. Probably. As I am heading to the kitchen, the doorbell rings. Answering it, I squeal. "Hello, Bella." "I can't believe you're here," I cry, throwing my arms around Adagio's neck. He laughs and embraces me. "Look at you. You look so beautiful." "I look big." "You're not big, just pregnant, and you still look beautiful." "Thank you. Come on in." Adagio picks up his suitcase, setting it in the hallway by the stairs. "So why didn't you tell us you were coming? I could have gone shopping and prepared something special for dinner." "I told Ingo I would be coming one day this week," he says, squeezing my hand. "He wanted you to be surprised." "Well, you both succeeded." He grins. "It is so good to see you," he says, hugging me again. "I've missed you." "I've missed you too. I just wish we could see more of you. I wish you didn't live so far away." "I do too, but I'm on no timetable right now, so I can stay until I wear out my welcome." "Oh, you could never wear out your welcome." "I was hoping you would say that." "Ingo went skiing today. He left a couple of hours ago, so he might be a while." "That's okay. You can keep me company until he gets here." I make a couple of mugs of hot chocolate and bring them to the living room, where we sit and visit. "Tara tells me you have dubbed her your personal pregnancy guru." "I guess I have," I confess with a chuckle. "She's fun to talk to. I really enjoy our visits." "She does as well. Your friendship means so much to her." "She and Gary are pretty amazing people." "They are." So how are things with you? Good. Business is great, and the guys in the kitchen tell me I do nothing but take up space. Ha! You see what happens? You teach them your secrets, show them how to cook your coveted dishes, and suddenly they can do without you. Good thing you own the place. I know, otherwise I wouldn't be allowed in the kitchen. Probably not. In any case, I am so glad you're here. So am I. Besides, you know me. I never pass up an opportunity for free room and board. Well, if there's one thing we do have plenty of, it's room and board. We just need more people to fill them. Well, that's what I'm here for. But I do plan to earn my keep, so feel free to put me to work at any time. Oh, don't worry. My request is pretty simple. And just what request would that be? When I smile, he grins. Aha! I will do my best to take care of your Italian food cravings. Your every wish is my command. He finishes with a dramatic flourish. Thank you. 1 meal a week should do it. After all, I do have to keep up my domestic duties in the kitchen, or look like I am anyway. I'm sure carrying a child is a domestic duty in itself, but I do want to help out in any way I can. You just say the word and it's as good as done. Well, I can't let you do too much, or there won't be anything for Ingo to do, and we wouldn't want that, would we? No, we wouldn't, but he might not agree. I glance at my watch. You know, I think I'll call his cell and leave a message telling him you're here, and when he gets here, I'll give him a sound talking to for not letting me know you were coming. Well, don't be too hard on him. It was partly my fault. But you're going to make it up to me with your culinary skills. True, he agrees. Just as I reach for the phone, the doorbell rings. I'll be right back. Looking through the small window on the door, my breath catches. It is Ben Gaylord and a police officer. What's going? I don't finish my thought. Opening the door, I take in Ben's red eyes and tear-streaked face, and my heart lurches. Chapter 26. Where's Ingo? Ben opens his mouth but doesn't say anything. He won't even look at me. Panic growing, I grab the front of his coat. Where is Ingo? I repeat, my voice raising a pitch. I sense Adagio's quiet approach. It is the policeman who finally speaks. Mrs. Kelly, I'm sorry to have to inform you that your husband was in a terrible skiing accident a while ago. He didn't make it. What? I whisper, staring at the two men. I don't believe you. It's not true. It is, ma'am. I am so sorry. No, this can't be happening. It cannot be happening. Adagio gently pulls my hands from Ben's coat, putting his arm around me. How? He asks in a broken voice. No one knows what caused it, but he lost control, snowballed, and crashed into a tree coming down a steep slope. He died instantly. No, he whispers. Oh, please no. The officer holds Ingo's personal belongings out to me, but I don't move to take them. I can't. I can't move or even think. Time has stopped and I am trapped in a single moment. As my weight shifts, Adagio adjusts his arm around me. It's the only thing keeping me from falling. I watch him take the bag from the officer. Thank you, he says. Mr. Kelly has been taken to Cottonwood Hospital. An autopsy will be done as soon as possible. He hands Ingo's SUV keys to Adagio. Apparently Ben drove it here. Again, I am truly sorry. Ben finally raises his eyes to mine. I'm so sorry, Cicely, he sobs. I'm so sorry. Then he and the officer leave. Taking my hand, Adagio gently draws me back into the house and shuts the door. I think he says he's sorry. I'm not sure, but that is the last thing I hear before the world around me starts spinning and everything goes dark. Cicely. Tears spill down Adagio's face as he quickly lifts her and carries her up to her room. Though his own heart is ripping in two, he needs to take care of her. With Jessica gone, there is no one else. Reaching her room, he places her on the bed and covers her with a light blanket. Noticing a list of numbers on the dresser, he scans it for Ingo's parents. Finding the number, he takes a deep breath and quickly dials, praying he will get through. "Hello?" A male voice answers. "Hello, is this the Kelly residence?" "Yes, this is Patrick Kelly." "This is Adagio St. John. Ingo and Cicely's friend?" "Yes, I remember you. Has something happened?" "Yes, it's about Ingo." Keeping his emotions in check, Adagio tells Patrick about Ingo's death, then listens quietly as Ingo's father weeps softly. He attempts to offer his condolences, but the words sound trite even to his own ears. He hears Patrick's wife crying in the background, and his heart goes out to them both. Patrick tells Adagio they will be there the day after tomorrow. He tells him to tell Cicely they love her. Ending the call, Adagio moves back to Cicely. He presses a hand to her cheek and tucks the blanket around her. Then he wearily sits in a chair across from the bed and silently cries. He can't believe it. His best friend is gone. How can Ingo be gone? Heart aching, Adagio rocks back and forth, missing him more than mere words can express. Dropping his face in his hands, he thinks back on the conversation he'd had with Ingo last week. Ingo had been so excited when Adagio told him he was coming for a visit. They discussed how fun it would be to surprise Cicely. They hadn't decided on the specific day, but the day of his arrival was supposed to be a happy one. Adagio futilely wipes at his tears. Losing Ingo was like living a nightmare, only this nightmare was more Cicely's than his. Squeezing his eyes shut, he rubs his temples as the pressure builds in his head. Why? He knows better than to ask such a pointless question, but just as he wasn't able to stop himself from asking it when Brian died, he can't help it now. He looks up as Cicely slowly comes to and moves to the edge of the bed, wanting to be there for her. Emerging from the heavy fog, I open my eyes and sit up, thinking I have awakened from a bad dream until I look into Adagio's red eyes. It all comes rushing back. The policeman's words again echo in my head. Your husband was in a terrible skiing accident. He didn't make it. Shaking my head in denial, I grip the front of Adagio's shirt. It's not true, is it? Please tell me it's not true. I wish I could, he answers, emotion cracking his voice, but I can't. Wiping his face, he takes my shoulders in his hands. He is gone, Cicely. His words are a blow to my heart, and I immediately crumble. Adagio draws me to him, holding me as I cry, rocking me as my sobs grow. The pain is unbearable. I've lost everything, and right now I want to die too. My world has been turned upside down, and there is no way to right it. Clinging to each other, I feel more than hear the sobs rippling through him, blending with my agony, making it hard to even breathe. What am I going to do without Ingo? I can't go on. He is the only man I have ever loved. We were supposed to grow old together, to watch our children grow to raise children of their own. How can those dreams be gone? What am I going to do? Oh God, it hurts. It hurts so much. Adagio tightens his arms around me. Shh, he whispers against my ear. I'm here, Angel. I'm here. My sobs lessen and I finally draw back, taking in the soaked shirt through swollen eyes. I'm sorry. He gives me a teary smile. Don't be sorry. I have plenty of shirts. You can cry on them all if you need to. He hands me a box of tissues from the bedside table. I have to admit I am glad Adagio is here because I need him. I can't do this alone, and I'm grateful for his presence. Blowing my nose, I let my gaze slowly move around the room, taking in all of Ingo's things. Emotion wells again. He's gone. Everything is gone. Listen to me, Cicely. He dries my tears with his fingers. Ingo will always be here with you because you will keep his memory alive in your heart. I try to latch on to his comforting words, but it is too hard. Grief blinds me to everything except Ingo's absence. My husband is never coming back through our door. This is all I know, all I can think about. This is my reality. It hurts so much. I can't stop crying. Don't stop. Just let go and cry. And I continue to do so as I press my face against his shoulder, sobbing like a lost child. A large chunk has been cut out of my heart, leaving a gaping hole with no way to heal itself. The pain clenching my insides is beyond description. Minutes go by before I can speak again. It was my fault. He didn't want to go skiing because he didn't want to leave me here alone, but I practically forced him to go. I should have let him stay home. If I hadn't made him go, maybe he would still be here. Drawing back, Adagio presses a gentle hand to my face. Don't do this to yourself, Cicely. No one is to blame. It was simply his time to go. It is hard for me to say this, to accept it, but I know it's true. It was his time, Cicely. He closes his eyes, fresh tears falling down his face, his voice growing softer. It was not your fault. Ingo would not want you to blame yourself. We didn't have enough time, I whisper. We didn't have enough time together. He was supposed to always be here with me, to help me raise our baby. I know, he soothes. No matter how much time we have with someone, it is never enough. But as I reminded Gary and Tara when they lost Brian, you will always have your memories of him in your life together. My heart begrudgingly validates the truth of his words. I will always have treasured memories, but right now, this knowledge isn't helping much. I need my husband with me now. I should call Ingo's parents, I say with my head against his shoulder. I dread the task. I don't know how to tell them their son, my husband, is gone. I never imagined having to make such a call. I already called them. I draw back in surprise. You did? I didn't want you to have to worry about it. You have so much to handle already. Tears of gratitude clog my throat. Thank you. I ache even more thinking about Patrick and Gloria and what they must be going through, having lost their oldest son. Adagio wipes my tears once more. You should lie down and rest. I shake my head. I need to make other phone calls. Then there are arrangements to be made. I have to. The arrangements can wait until morning, and if you will give me your list, I will make the calls. I can't let you do that. I am your friend, Cicely. This is what I am here for, to help, and I want to do everything I can to take as much of the burden off you as possible. I worry for you and the baby. You don't want anything to happen to Ingo's child. This baby is a gift from him. I realize the importance of his words, but instead of feeling comforted, a fresh batch of pain surfaces. Oh, Adagio, I love him so much. It hurts. I know, he soothes. I don't know how to be without my best friend either. But you will eventually be okay. We both will, I promise. He urges me to lie back down, spreading the blanket back over me. Try to rest. I will call everyone. Where do I find your address book? In the drawer, I say, pointing to the bedside table. I will take care of everything. I reach for his hand. Thank you. Brushing a wisp of hair from my face, he presses a kiss to my brow. You're welcome. Closing my eyes, I imagine Ingo lying next to me. I need to feel him near, and I ache for another chance to tell him I love him. One afternoon has completely changed my world. In an instant, I have lost everything. I didn't even get to say goodbye to him. I never got to tell him how much joy he brought into my life, how happy he made me. Oh, Ingo, please know how much I love you. Turning over, I bury my face in Ingo's pillow, breathing in the scent of his aftershave, and sob until I am exhausted. I drift to sleep, still holding on to his pillow, longing for the comfort of his arms. Grabbing the phone, Adagio sits at the desk in the family room, unable to staunch the flow of tears. He misses Ingo desperately, and the pain is excruciating. To know he will never see his friend again in this life is tearing him up inside, but he needs to be strong for Sicily. Swallowing his emotions, he makes the calls. Ending his final call with Gary and Tara, he glances out the window. It has grown dark, and realizing it is well past dinner time, his thoughts shift to Sicily. She needs to eat something to keep up her strength for herself and her baby. Looking through the refrigerator, he pulls out an assortment of meats and cheeses, as well as some leftover cheese and broccoli soup. While the soup is reheating, he makes a sandwich. After pouring a little of the soup into a mug and putting the sandwich on a plate, he mixes a can of frozen juice and pours a small glass. Placing it all on a tray, he takes it up to Sicily. Adagio quietly opens the bedroom door. Sicily is lying on her back, clutching a pillow, staring up at the ceiling as tears trickle back into her hair. The sight affects him deeply, causing his own eyes to burn again. Clearing his throat, he enters. I brought you something to eat. You need to keep up your strength. She sits up and wipes her eyes. Adagio places a tray over her lap and sits down. She looks down at the food, then at him. Thank you. Her voice is hoarse from crying. She probably has no appetite, but even a few bites will be better than nothing. You are welcome. Watching her take a small bite of the sandwich, he wishes he could say or do something to take away the pain, but only time can do that. The bottom has just dropped out of her world, and her pain is too fresh. He will do everything in his power to help her through the times ahead. The Flynns and a couple of ladies from the boutique stop by and offer their condolences. They tell